So we're kicking the new year off with a couple of interesting reviews, and we're starting with this, the Overflod Zeno. Now this is a car that I promised myself I wasn't actually going to review. So it's based on the SSC Tuatara, with SSC obviously being a derivative of the old Shelby company, so there's some heritage here. And the Tuatara itself is a really, really pretty car, which might come as a surprise because when you look at the artwork for this car on the website, yeah, just I'm actually lost for words. I don't know how they managed to make such a good looking car look so dull, so much so that I even had the music all queued up and ready just for this car.
There once was an ugly duckling with feathers all stubby and brown.
But then something very strange happened, something which has never happened through all of the cars that I've customised in this game. As soon as I wheeled this thing into my agency, which was a bad choice anyway because the lighting in there is terrible, but I wheeled it into the agency and started customising it, and I was greeted with quite an enormous range of customisations. Now, yeah, there are only a handful of bonnets, but I've never seen this many exhaust options before. I've never spent so much time trying to choose an exhaust option. It has some really good front and rear bumpers, it has some interesting liveries, but then some really wild stuff going on with the canards. Now usually these just look like someone super glued a toilet roll to the side of the car, but with these they all seem to work. So if you go for quite an aggressive front splitter with the aggressive canards and a spoiler, you transform this thing from being absolutely disgustingly hideous to being, well, I mean there's only one way of describing it really.
You're a very fine swan indeed.
So for the first time in my GTA life, I've wheeled a car out of the customization bay, liking it so much more than when I wheeled it in. Usually with these cars you're making tweaks, you're making it just suit how you want it, but with this I felt like the actual customization was transformational. It changed it from a disgusting piece of garbage basically to a really, really nice looking car. In fact, it's so nice I need to go through my Eclipse Boulevard garage and pick one of the red cars to kick out because I think this belongs in my best garage. But that's a problem for future me. Back to the review of the car. What can we say about, well, how it drives? Well, now I've not picked the best part of the video to start talking about this, but ET's pretty middle of the road, I've got to admit. Unfortunately, I wanted it to drive a little bit better than it did. I wanted it to be faster than it is. It's not snow. It's been snowing outside. It's not slow either. It's not a slow car, but it's not one of the super quick ones. But that said, it mixes it right in the middle of all the other supercars and sports cars, so it's not going to be slower than any of the others. And I'll tell you one thing, the cover art for this car is so awful, I'll be surprised if anyone buys it, because it does just look absolutely gopping. So by the time you've customised it and made it look like this, a lot of people in the game won't know what car it is. So there's going to be a degree of originality there for anyone that's bombing around the session in this, I would say. So is it worth a buy? Well, let's have a look at the top speed first. So we're just coming around this corner, so we might as well do the top speed test first. For anyone that's new to the channel, which is quite a few of you over the Christmas break, I have a section of road here that I have measured that is exactly 1 mile long. It starts, there's a tar line just after the sign that we just went under before the tunnel, and then there is a sign just in front of the silos up here, not this one, the next one. I time how long it takes me to drive the two, do a little bit of maths, and that gives you a top speed that you can achieve through traffic, which is where one of the issues of this car comes to life, which is the lack of torque, really. So let's just have a look at the time. This is what it managed to do, and the top speed. But yeah, if you listen to the engine as I'm driving along, this car really struggles, or should I say the Xeno really struggles with the hills. So as soon as you hit a hill, it starts to lose speed and sometimes has to shift down. It seems to be really lacking in torque, which is odd because that's one of the things it mentions in the write-up for this car, that it's quite strong with, but it really isn't. It struggles with torque, it struggles with hills, and it does seem to be lacking at the top end. Handling wise, it's a little bit spiky, but it has a decent amount of downforce. I'll be honest, it's generally quite an enjoyable car to drive. Is it worth a buy? It's very expensive. I mean, for 2 million you can get better cars. You can definitely get better cars. On reflection, I'm glad I bought this, because I think it's really different to anything that anyone else will be using in the session. So you know me, I like stuff that's a little bit different and a little bit weird, so I'm really glad I got it. I'm really glad I ignored the cover art and just went with it, hoping I could make it look something like. Should you? Well, it's on offer this week, but even on offer it's still 2 million. So this is 2.8 million when it's not on offer. So if you do want it, now is definitely the time to get it. But if I'm being totally honest, for the reasons I've given, I can't justify spending 2 million on this for most players, unless you're absolutely rolling in money and you have everything you want and now you're just trying to collect cool stuff, in which case, you know what, yeah, go for it. But if you're at any other stage, you can get a lot more for your money, but it is a really cool car. And that said, here's the time it managed to do. And here's where it sits on the lapboard. So I hope you've all had a wonderful Christmas and New Year. Thanks to everyone that tuned into my garage tour video. As suspected, I had missed a garage, but luckily there wasn't much interesting in it. So I'll just pop the missing garage on screen now for you to have a quick look through that. And I hope that was useful, and the next video will be coming out very shortly, and that is the much overdue D10 cop car, and I have an interesting take on that. So I hope to see you on the next one, and take care of yourselves.
I'm not such an ugly duckling, no feathers, all stuffy and brown, for in fact these birds in so many words said the best in town. The best, the best, the best in town.